I want to talk about some ideas that I've seen out there that are value creating, money making business ideas and how I saw them evolve. And I think that this will start to program your mind and give you an idea of what we're looking for. Okay, so I've made a list of 5 different business ideas, and let me explain them to you. So you may have seen years ago the business that really blew up for a while. It was mobile windshield repair. And what they figured out how to do was come to you wherever you were at, and they would put this little device on your windshield after you had a little stone chip or something. And what they would do is they would come to you wherever you were at if you had a little stone chip or a little crack in your windshield. And they'd put this suction cup device on the windshield, and they'd suck out the air and pump in some kind of super glue or something and polish it off. And it would seal up the crack. You wouldn't even be able to see it anymore, and it would stop the window from cracking further. And instead of spending $400 on a windshield or $1,000 on a windshield and having your car in the shop for several days, you could have this person come to wherever you were at, and they could do it all in a matter of minutes or a half hour or something. And it was, I forgot, I think it was 50 or $100. And I thought, what a great idea that is, right? Because it's one of those things where it kind of comes out of nowhere. A rock hits your windshield as you're driving down the freeway, and you're like, darn it. And you know that if you leave it, the windshield's going to crack even further, and then you're going to have to replace the whole thing. And it's very instant gratification to just call someone up and have them drive over and fix the windshield, right? So I thought that mobile windshield repair was an excellent business idea. Well, I also love to watch how business ideas evolve over time. Turns out that my girlfriend, she and I were traveling a couple of weeks ago, and we were going through the airport, and she had her MacBook laptop, and she had taken it out to go through the security line. And it was one of these moments where it was just everything kind of aligned in the wrong way here for her. But she took her computer out of the bin after it came out of the security x-ray machine, and she put it down on the belt for a second to open up her bag to put it in, and she put it down and turned around and almost choreographed. As soon as she put it down and turned, something came out the other side of the belt, and it kind of pushed on the containers, and it knocked her laptop on the ground, right? So it hit the ground with a thud. And when she opened it back up next to turn it on, the whole screen was cracked. It actually looked kind of cool, except that it makes it a little hard to read, unfortunately. But it is a very cool looking set of cracks. Didn't destroy it completely. And so she said, do I have to just get a new computer now? And I said, I think it's pretty expensive. Most of the time when I've checked in the past or heard people talk about this, they say, it's just worth it to get a new computer. It's not even worth it to try to fix this one. But because I, love to do research, I went online and spent a couple minutes on Google searching around, and I found a website that was MacBook screen replacements, and it was mobile, and it was in all major cities, and you could call them up, and same day they would drive over to you, replace your MacBook screen, and have the whole thing done. I think it was in an hour or something. And instead of having to spend $2,000 on a new MacBook Pro computer, you can get the whole thing done for $400. And I thought, now there is a great business opportunity, great business idea. They probably buy the screens wholesale for $100 or something, or $200, and then they drive out, and they've probably got it down since they're doing it over and over, and they can do the whole thing in an hour or so, maybe 2 hours round trip, and make a couple $100. And they probably outsource the whole thing to subcontractors, is my guess, right? So it's an interesting way to watch how a pain and urgency of a cracked windshield, where you can get 50 or $100, turned into the pain and urgency of a cracked computer screen, where you can now get $400 or $500. Another service that I've seen over the last couple of years that's been growing fast is this idea of virtual technical support. Right? Most of us would really like to talk to a human being when we're trying to install a new piece of software and it's not working, or get our printer to work, or upgrade our computer operating system, or whatever it is, and we just don't have time to call up and stay on hold for 27 hours with the individual company. And we all know that, now when we call one company up, they're going to say, well, it's the other company's fault, and so forth. So I've seen these virtual technical support companies popping up, and it's a really nice model. You pay a monthly fee, and then you can call in and ask for technical support on your computer. And some of them are so sophisticated that if they can't figure it out, they just take control of your computer over the high-speed internet connection, and they just fix it for you right there. I also like this because it's what they call scalable, right? This is another thing where you can hire other people to do this, and then what you're really doing is creating the product or service and doing the marketing, and you're organizing other people who actually do the work. But virtual technical support is great because when you have a problem with your computer, when you run into a challenge, it stops you, and you kind of can't move forward until you've solved it. This is an area where there's a lot of pain and urgency, and I don't think computers are going away anytime soon. Another one that's growing dramatically is personal coaching, right? And especially problem-oriented personal coaching around health, weight loss, relationships, dating, debt. All of these huge mega niches are really big opportunities for personal coaching. And whereas a few years ago having a personal coach was kind of a strange thing, now everyone either has a personal coach or they know someone that's hired a life coach, and life coaches often charge $100 to $200 a session or more. It's a way that someone who's running into a personal problem in their life where there's a lot of pain and urgency or a lot of desire can get someone to help them out. We like having a person around who's kind of holding our hand and walking us through things. Another business idea that is also, big business where billions of dollars have been made, but just another way of looking at the idea of creating value, right? And also doing it at a time where there's a lot of problem or pain and urgency or a lot of desire, and then making something that's scalable, are these websites that offer the lowest quote. So there are websites like Kayak and Expedia and Travelocity where you can go and get travel quotes. You can go to some websites and get insurance quotes from multiple companies. There are loan quotes and mortgage quotes from websites like Lower My Bills and Lending Tree and so forth. And what's really fascinating here is that these various services don't actually offer the service themselves. They just take and aggregate the data from other websites and put it all together in a format that allows an individual person to go and do some research to solve their problem. Now notice what these all have in common. And by the way, these are 5 business ideas that took me 3 minutes to think up, and we could sit here and talk about hundreds or probably thousands more, but what do these 5 have in common if you just look at them? Right? What they have in common is that they're big business, right? Obviously a lot of money could be made in them. They create a lot of value, okay, because there's somebody who's trying to get something done or who's running into a problem, and solving that problem or getting a solution gives them a lot of benefit. And there's a lot of focus here on pain and urgency. There's a lot of focus on, I've got this obstacle that I've run into, and if I don't solve this thing, I can't go on with my life. Now contrast this with the business ideas and the money-making ideas that most people come up with. Okay, what most people try to do when they want to make some money is they want to do something that they think is fun, or they want to do something where they've got this service where they say, I've got this great idea. I'm going to open up a hair cutting parlor. I'm going to open up a hair salon that also does that also has an iTunes music bar in there, so that you can download music while you're getting your hair cut. Doesn't that sound like fun? And it's kind of a brainstorm rather than a business idea where there's a big need and someone's running into pain and urgency and then solving it. Okay? Putting two ideas that, people like to do together does not a business make. Okay? Figuring out where someone has pain and urgency or a problem and then coming up with a solution in the form of a product or a service, and then marketing and promoting that solution so that you get customers, and then giving those customers a lot of value, that's what ultimately makes money.